today we're testing out this new Rattler V3 5640, and it has some really cool upgrades. The biggest upgrade to the Rattler series is the rangefinder being in the lens of the scope, and adding a rangefinder at all to the Rattler, which is awesome. So the Rattler is a very compact thermal rifle scope. I did try this on a bolt action rifle and actually fit pretty well. If you're using it on, say, a Ruger American or a Savage with a full length stock, and you have a youth or a shorter person shooting it, maybe a little bit of a stretch for the neck, but other than that, it'll work pretty good. Okay, so it does have the round screen in it, which makes it pretty nice. And get the I've got it turned on right now to where it'll tell us, if we're canted one way or the other. And when you're shooting long range, that's really nice. The wind is blowing about 15 miles per hour out there, so we're not going to get as good an image as we normally would. Turn on the rangefinder here. So these cows are right at 200 yards, and so we'll just zoom in here. Take a look. So there's 7x, and for shooting out to 200 yards, that's pretty good. That's 7x. Okay, 14x. Usually 14x if you're shooting out to 400 yards or so. You can still see really good image quality. Holds it together really good. You can start to see a little bit of pixelation, but not bad. Okay, then we get to 28x. You can obviously see pixelation, but if you're wanting to make a fine-tuned shot, that is not a bad image to do so. Let's jump in here and try it. So there is what it looks like when you do picture-in-picture, and then when you zoom in, it lets you keep the wide field of view with your main screen, and then just in the picture-in-picture it zooms in. So you can zoom all the way in. That's how that works. Now let's check out the Zoom Pro. And let's see here, it is probably right here. I jumped in too fast, so through the menu. So when you go from viewing through the rifle scope, hold the left button down for about 3 seconds, and it'll come to this short menu. I've got my brightness at 5. Got the contrast set at 7, and what I like to do with the contrast, I'll just show you real quick, is the cold parts of the screen I like to have black, but not all the screen. So you can see the cold parts of the ground are black. Let's move it up here. So you can see right here now most of it's pretty gray, just a little bit of black up there by the road, but there's a lot of gray. I like a little more black than that. However, right here on number 10, you can see everything's kind of black, but if you like the animals to pop out, that does work really good. I like it right here for today's weather conditions, about 7. And we go to sharpness here. I like to see the definition of the animal, so you can see, like on that cow's shoulders, you can see different, some black, some white. And let's just take it here. So notice here on number 1, it kind of gets a little fuzzier, and it kind of blends in. You can't see the detail. However, here on number 5, like even in the grass and the trees, it just almost makes too much detail. And so I do like running it at about a 3, but you can set it to your preferences. But here's what we want to do. We want to check the Zoom Pro, and when you zoom in with the Zoom Pro, it should show more detail. So let's just check that out. So here's a 7, here's a 14. So notice on that cow right there, you can see the ribs right there, you can see the shoulder blade. Okay, so you can see some pretty good definition there. Okay, now let's go turn the Zoom Pro off and just see if we notice a difference here. Okay, so notice, yeah, there's not that quite that sharp detail where the ribs are. You can still kind of see it and see where it is, but you notice it's just not quite as clear as it is with the Zoom Pro on. Notice we get some straight lines right there showing right where those ribs are. The other thing too, though, that we want to check out with the Zoom Pro is when you move back and forth, you know, if an animal is running, it takes just a little longer to get that image dialed right in. And so if you were trying to identify a running animal, you'd probably be better off with the Zoom Pro off. But if things are sitting still, you can turn that on and probably get a little better image detail. Let's test out this rangefinder. Okay, so picks that up 200, 300, 400 yards. Of course, it's going to pick the building up really good. Out here we've got a really smooth field and it has some tall weeds in it, and it's actually pretty hard to range, and so let's just try it. So 347, 399. Just gonna go, so right there notice it's having a hard time ranging, and you know, a lot of rangefinders do, and so 463. And so if you get to really flat fields that has tall grass, etc., you will, you know, with any rangefinder, it can get hard to range, but I would say this one does a really good job out to 400. You know, 450 past there. I mean, it will range it, but if it's flat at all, I wouldn't expect it to range it accurately. Let's just pull out, we got some trees here that go out to 681. Let's try these trees, 814. So if you got big trees or a side hill, you know, you can range out to 800 yards. But like I said, 450, maybe 500 yards. Turn it back on here. Yeah, it's going to range pretty good. Okay, let's jump in and turn on the ballistic calculator real quick. So come in here to zeroing, come down here to ballistic calculator, and I already have this one set up. I'll just show you. Here's the info I have in here. This is for my 22 arc. Okay, and so the red dot is where you'll aim depending on the range. I got it sighted in at 100 yards. Is where it's dialed in for. Let's just test this here. So 74 yards, you know, you're 0.3 inches. So you're going to aim just a hair low. You're going to aim right where that red dot is right there, okay? So not much movement. 143 yards, you're still kind of zeroed, dialed right in there. Let's move over here to the cows real quick and just show you. We're gonna shoot a cow, 206. And so we would aim right where that red dot is, okay? So at 200 yards, you know, 1.8 inches difference, but I mean right where that red is, be real easy for a fine aiming point there. Let's do something a little further out. Okay, 426. And so let's say, you know, that was a coyote out right there. You're shooting it. Real easy to aim there. We do have a couple of different options you can change that to, but I like that round aiming point. But if you want to change it up, you can come in here, you can change it. You can do a delta where you aim right at the top. You can do this one if you have a hard time seeing it, you got bad eyesight. This one makes it bigger. And X is real nice too. You can aim right at the center of the X. But like I said, I kind of like this round dot here. Okay, like I said, if you wanted to do some severe shooting out there, 155 inches at 800 yards. Okay, I mean, you could still make those shots. Like I said, you'd have to have a pretty good side hill or good incline to get the rangefinder to do that consistently, I think, but you could in worst case scenario. And so just first impressions on this scope. If you're looking for a very compact thermal scope with a rangefinder in it and all the bells and whistles, one that can work on a bolt action or works great on AR style rifles, really you can't beat this one for the price and the size and the weight and everything. You know, this one's leading the market and all that. So awesome scope for all that. If you have any questions, give us a call. Thanks.